The Biden administration is putting climate change front and center in its agenda. Bloomberg's Jennifer Dlouhy sat down with the president's EPA administrator, he's Michael Regan, earlier today to discuss the topic, and I'm delighted to say she's joining us now. So welcome, Jen. It's really good to have you with us. Give us a sense of what the priorities are for the administrators. I understand one of the issues is auto emissions.
Absolutely. Well, the administrator and the EPA are at the forefront of Biden's environmental agenda. So, he's writing new rules governing greenhouse gas emissions from automobiles as well as oil wells. And on automobiles, what we heard from the administrator is that as, the EPA rewrites standards that were relaxed under Trump, they're going to be mindful of the climate change imperative here and make sure that those are aggressive enough to meet the climate threat. Take a listen.
We need to go as far as we can to meet the demands of the day, which is the science indicates that we have a short window in time to reverse the path that we're on and mitigate against certain climate impacts. And so what I would say is we're taking a strong look at what the science is urging us to do.
So, Jen, it strikes me that this auto emissions issue has been up and down and all around. The Trump administration was backing off. In fact, the auto industry, as I recall, was largely on the side of California for more restrictive regulation, fighting against the Trump administration for less. Do we have a sense of where the industry is in all this?
Right. Well, the industry is supporting really a compromise approach that was worked out with California by many automakers on a voluntary basis last year. The challenge for Biden's EPA and for Michael Regan right now is that's not necessarily enough to meet the urgent climate threat, and it's certainly not what environmentalists are urging. They're urging more aggressive standards that were actually charted under Obama. Regan today indicated he feels like he can really strike a balance here and write this rule in a way that helps the economy, but also protects the environment and counters climate change. You can listen to him.
I believe that it's a false option to choose between economic development and prosperity and environmental protection. I don't believe we have to sacrifice anyone sitting at the table, nor do I believe we have to sacrifice jobs. And I think the president is proving that with his leadership posture.
So, Jennifer, that sounds really, really good, just like bipartisanship sounded really, really good from President Biden. But when push came to shove on the American Rescue Plan, the president had to go it alone. Can Mr. Regan accomplish all that the president wants him to do, which is pretty dramatic when it comes to climate, and really accommodate all those interests?
That is a challenge that is probably greater than any single person. But here's the deal with Administrator Regan. He got this job largely because he has a history of forging consensus among industry and environmentalists and other interests and stakeholders during his tenure as the environmental chief of North Carolina. So now the pressure really is on as environmentalists push the Biden administration to go stronger, and yet the administration also seeks to find some consensus with industry on these core issues.
Jen, just very quickly at the end, do you have a sense of what his second priority is after auto emissions? What's next?
We know he's going to be dealing very quickly with methane emissions from oil and gas wells, which is key to our Paris Agreement pledge.